As I sit down to pen this tale, the eerie silence of the night is penetrated by distant, indistinct murmurs, reminiscent of that fateful night, the night that the woods of Blackwood Forest came alive. This account isn't birthed from an overzealous imagination, nor is it a morbid fascination with the supernatural, but a narration of cold, hard truths, a series of events that continue to haunt my waking days and terrorize the solitude of nights. One may find the tranquility of Blackwood Forest misleading. By day, sunlight pierces through the tall, arching trees, casting mesmerizing patterns on the forest floor. But, as the veil of night descends, the woods transform, echoing sinister whispers that have, for generations, been dismissed as the rustling of leaves or the nocturnal escapades of wildlife. I know better now. On the night of October 31st, 2022, the insidious truth unveiled itself before my very eyes. I was 15 then, a curious, adventurous spirit, eager to decode the enigmatic aura that surrounded Blackwood Forest. Armed with nothing but a flashlight and the naive bravery of adolescence, I ventured into the woods, determined to unravel the mystery that older folks dared not speak of. The moonlight carved paths of silvery hue, illuminating the sinister dance of shadows. Every rustle, every murmur was magnified, echoing the ominous chants of spirits long departed. Undeterred, I delved deeper, my heart racing, fueled by a combination of dread and exhilaration. The hands of the clock were approaching midnight when I stumbled upon it. An abandoned mansion, concealed within the ominous embrace of Blackwood's gnarled trees. Its dilapidated structure bore testimony to an era long forgotten, a monument of eerie desolation. The door, slightly ajar, creaked under the faintest breeze, as if beckoning me into its sinister depths. An inexplicable force, a morbid curiosity propelled me forward. Each step inside the forsaken abode echoed the haunting lament of souls imprisoned within those decaying walls. I remember the sudden drop in temperature, the icy chill that slithered up my spine, and the enigmatic symbols that adorned the mansion's interior. As I delved deeper, a cryptic diary, its pages yellowed and withered, unveiled a tale of unspeakable horror. It spoke of Lord Ainsley, the mansion's former inhabitant, a sinister figure who practiced the dark arts, drawing power from the innocent souls he mercilessly sacrificed. I was alone, yet the ominous presence of unseen eyes bore into my soul. Shadows, twisted and malign, wove around me, their sinister murmurs narrating tales of unspeakable horror. In the mansion's cursed confines, I was an unwilling spectator to the macabre theater of Lord Ainsley's heinous rituals, as if time had regressed, binding me to that cursed era. Every inch of that haunted mansion reeked of evil so potent it threatened to engulf my soul. Yet, amidst the haunting chants and sinister shadows, a voice, feeble yet persistent, echoed the haunting lullabies of Ainsley's last victim, a boy barely older than myself. As the specter of dawn pierced through the mansion's darkened windows, a sinister force propelled me to the cursed grounds where innocent souls met their untimely demise. Trees, gnarled and sinister, their twisted forms weaving an ominous dance, bore witness to the evil that lingered. It was a terrifying soiree of shadows and sinister murmurs, a dance of death, and I was an unwilling participant, ensnared within the mansion's sinister clutches. Escape, a tantalizing mirage, seemed an eternity away, as the cursed souls of Ainsley's victims sought retribution, their icy fingers weaving around my soul. When the sun's first rays banished the sinister darkness, I found myself, pale and haunted, on the fringes of Blackwood Forest. The mansion, an eerie specter, loomed in the sinister embrace of gnarled trees, a haunting testament to the unspeakable horror that transpired within its cursed walls. They say time heals, yet years later, the haunting murmurs and sinister shadows of that forsaken mansion linger. Every rustle of the wind echoes the haunting laments of souls long departed, imprisoned within the cursed confines of Blackwood Forest. Today, as the clock hands approach midnight, the ominous presence of that haunted mansion and the sinister secrets it conceals casts an ominous shadow. I pen down this account, a haunted soul, forever ensnared within the sinister embrace of that eerie night. Let this narrative serve as a haunting reminder. Blackwood Forest is no ordinary woods, but an eerie sanctuary of sinister secrets and unspeakable horrors. A place where shadows weave sinister dances and eerie murmurs, echoing the haunting laments of souls long departed, penetrate the ominous silence of eerie nights. Reader, venture not into its sinister depths, for within the eerie embrace of Blackwood Forest, shadows come alive, narrating tales of unspeakable horror, their sinister murmurs a haunting lullaby of souls forever imprisoned within its cursed confines. Every town has its ghost stories, legends passed down through generations, casting long, sinister shadows that stretch out and touch the present. In my hometown, it was the McCarthy House, an imposing, desolate structure that stood alone amidst overgrown woods, a relic of a bygone era, a stark contrast to the modern constructions that surrounded it. I always had a fascination with the old, haunted McCarthy House. It wasn't just the stories that intrigued me, but a personal experience, an event I barely remember, being only 5 at the time. An echo of terror rooted deeply in my soul. One cold October night, after the relentless prodding of friends and the bravado that comes with too many drinks, I found myself standing in front of the forsaken mansion, determined to face the memories that haunted my sleep, the echoes of that sinister night 2 decades earlier. The air was thick with an ominous energy as we made our way through the entrance. A shiver coursed through my body, a deep, chilling cold that bore into my bones. A memory, long buried, struggled to surface. Every step inside the house was a journey back in time. The hallway was a haunting gallery of family portraits. The McCarthys, a once prosperous family, their stern, pale faces almost accusatory, glaring from the frames. The house was said to be cursed since the tragic demise of the McCarthy family. A prosperous family, respected yet feared, the townspeople had long whispered of the dark arts they practiced, an ungodly alliance that brought them wealth and power. That night, a storm unlike any other unleashed its fury upon the town, its eye directly above the McCarthy house. By morning, the family was found dead, expressions of unspeakable terror etched permanently on their faces, a testament to an unfathomable horror. The friends that accompanied me to the house that night were oblivious to my silent terror. They laughed, made jokes, their voices echoing ominously through the desolate halls of the mansion. As we descended into the basement, where the family's lifeless bodies were discovered decades ago, the atmosphere changed. A hush fell upon us, the somber energy of the room enveloping us. This room felt personal. Its silence screamed a morbid symphony of unspeakable terror, a plea for liberation from the echoes of that fateful night. I stood in silence, the icy fingers of a forgotten memory crawling up my spine. An inexplicable fear, an intimate knowledge of an unspeakable horror, a puzzle missing its pieces. My friends, seemingly untouched by the room's oppressive energy, were engaged in a seance, an attempt to communicate with the sinister spirits said to haunt the mansion. The air grew cold, an icy silence rendering us mute, prisoners to an unspeakable presence. In that moment, the echoes of my childhood returned, the puzzle pieces falling into place, unveiling a terror beyond comprehension. I was there that fateful night, a child of 5, lost in the woods, seeking refuge in a mansion oblivious to the impending storm, the ominous presence that lurked in the darkness. I recalled the cries of the McCarthy family, the sinister symphony of horror that played out in the basement. A ritual gone wrong, an entity unleashed, a sinister force, both of this world and beyond. I was spared, a soul too young, yet marked for life, a witness to the unspeakable, the living testimony of the sinister symphony that played out that night. As the realization struck, the entity, long trapped within the cursed walls of the mansion, recognized me. A voice, both familiar and terrifying, echoed through the room, its sinister symphony a chilling reminder of the terror I had witnessed, a plea for liberation from its eternal prison. I don't recall how I made it out of the mansion. The events that followed remain a blur. My friends were not so fortunate. They were found lifeless, expressions of unspeakable terror etched permanently on their faces, the sinister symphony of the McCarthy house claiming its latest victims. The mansion was razed to the ground the following week, yet the echoes of that sinister night continue to haunt me. A witness, a survivor, yet a prisoner. The sinister symphony of the McCarthy house forever etched into my soul. Every town has its ghost stories. Ours is the McCarthy house, an ominous presence that lurks in the darkness, its sinister symphony an echo of an unspeakable horror, a stark reminder of the night I, too, became a part of the legend. The deafening silence of the woods has always called out to me. A harmonious blend of despondency and allure, the trees with their ominous yet graceful silhouette always seem to whisper secrets of a world beyond our mundane existence. As a boy of 12, I wasn't versed in the perilous art of fear, nor aware of the thin veil that separated the living from the dead. All of that changed one frosty October night. A night that was painted with moonlight, casting eerie glows and petrifying shadows. I resided on the outskirts of a small town. A dense, dark forest, known to locals as the Whispering Woods, skirted our humble community. Elders spun ghastly tales of specters and eerie voices emanating from its depths, but we dismissed them as mere myths, designed to keep curious children at bay. However, one chilly autumn evening, a group of friends and I, armed with nothing but our juvenile courage and insatiable curiosity, ventured into the ominous darkness of the Whispering Woods. We wanted to extract the truth from the bosom of those enigmatic trees, ignoring the ominous undertone of the whispering winds that warned of impending doom. As the clock struck midnight, we were deep within the heart of the forest, where the moonlight barely pierced the thick, twisted branches. A deathly silence prevailed, as if we had entered a world where even time had ceased its eternal march. Armed with flashlights, we explored the forest, with laughter and playful banter concealing the nascent trepidation bubbling within us. In the foreboding silence, our laughter was a sacrilege. The forest retaliated. We heard soft, sinister whispers that seemed to emerge from the very bowels of the earth. The wind, carrying sinister undertones, navigated through the ancient trees, echoing ominous incantations. We stumbled upon an old, dilapidated house shrouded in an unspeakable aura of horror and mystery. It stood as a grotesque monument, whispering tales of an era where despair reigned supreme. Against our better judgment, propelled by a concoction of fear and intrigue, we entered the ominous edifice. Inside, an air of sinister tranquility prevailed. A sudden gust of wind slammed the door shut, and we were engulfed in an impenetrable darkness. The air was thick, pregnant with a menacing energy that slithered around us. Our flashlights flickered and went out, as if the sinister darkness was an entity, consuming every sliver of light. In the heart-stopping silence, we heard soft, insidious whispering, echoing the sinister chants of the wind outside. Our bravado dissolved into primal terror as we groped in the dark, desperately seeking an escape from the malevolent entity that seemed to stalk our every move. We found ourselves in a room where the remnants of a heinous ritual were visible. An ancient book, bound in human skin, lay in the center. We realized, to our abject horror, that we were in the epicenter of the sinister forces that haunted the Whispering Woods. Unable to escape, we spent the night engulfed in a horror that defied human comprehension. The sinister whispering, like a grotesque lullaby, serenaded our terror-stricken souls throughout the night. Every shadow, every gust of wind seemed to harbor an unspeakable evil, echoing the sinister incantations of malevolent entities. As dawn broke, the sinister energy dissipated, as if the light had banished the dark forces to their sinister abode. We stumbled out of the house, our souls forever scarred by a night of unutterable horror. The whispering woods, with its eerie silence, stood as a grotesque witness to the sinister forces that lurked within. We never spoke of that night, but the haunting whispers of the wind, echoing the sinister incantations of malevolent spirits, are forever etched in our souls. As the moon ascends in the chilling solitude of the night, we are reminded of the unspeakable horror that lurks in the enigmatic silence of the whispering woods. Years have passed since that petrifying night. The woods still stand, whispering sinister secrets to those who dare venture into its ominous embrace. We were the unsuspecting victims of an ancient malevolence, a horror that lurks in the heart of the enigmatic forest, awaiting its next victim. The elders were right. Within the eerie silence of the whispering woods lurks an unspeakable evil, a sinister entity that emerges under the ominous glow of the moonlight, whispering sinister incantations that echo the unspeakable horror of that frosty October night. A night when the veil between the living and the dead, good and evil, light and darkness, was perilously thin, unveiling a world of unspeakable horror that lies in the enigmatic silence of the whispering woods. Every autumn, when the woods are painted with moonlight, casting eerie glows and petrifying shadows, the haunting whispers of the wind echo the sinister incantations of that petrifying night. A grotesque lullaby that serves as a chilling reminder of the unspeakable horror that lurks within the ominous embrace of the whispering woods. I'm a man now, and the echoes of that night's terror still linger, a haunting melody of sinister whispers that reverberate in the chilling solitude of my nightmares. The whispering woods stand as an ominous testament to the sinister forces that lurk within, whispering sinister secrets of a night of unutterable horror, a night that unveiled the grotesque dance of darkness and light, life and death, good and evil. A dance that continues to echo in the eerie silence of the whispering woods, a silence that is forever haunted by the sinister whispers of that frosty October night. It was an ordinary Tuesday when I moved into the ancient Victorian home at the heart of Salem, Massachusetts. A town steeped in history, both glorious and grim. As a historian, the allure of living amidst the echoes of the witch trials and old sea captains was irresistible. My family and friends warned me against it, claiming the town, and especially that house, had an ominous vibe. But I was a man of logic, dismissing such talks as fanciful, born from too many nights spent reading horror stories. The house, with its towering spires and intricate woodwork, was an architectural marvel, but bore the scars of time. The first few nights were uneventful, apart from the creaking floors and the rustling of winds that weaved strange melodies around the house. It was on the seventh night, at the stroke of midnight, when the ordinary silence of the night grew into an oppressive stillness. It was as though the darkness outside had seeped into every nook of the house, casting shadows that seemed to whisper ominous secrets. I could hear my heart pounding, the rhythmic beats echoing the unspeakable fear that slowly crawled into my soul. It was in this dead silence that I heard a soft whimper from the hallway. A cold draft swept through the room as I reluctantly pulled the covers away. Every step towards the source of the sound made the air around me dense with an unspeakable terror. The frail beams of the moonlight casting ominous figures that seemed to dance and mock my dread. In the silent, dark hallway, the portraits of the house's former inhabitants seemed to stare, their eyes reflecting tales of unspeakable horrors. I felt an icy grip around my soul when I stopped before the portrait of Captain Alistair, a sea captain known for his brutal and tyrannical rule during the early days of Salem. There was a sinister smile that lingered on his lips, a cruel celebration of the terror that was about to unfold. As the grandfather clock struck 1, the whimpering grew into soft whispers, leading me to the forbidden room at the end of the hallway. A room that was sealed for decades, ensnaring the unspeakable horrors within its ancient walls. The door creaked open, unveiling the sinister playground of the damned souls who were betrayed and murdered in the grim history of Salem. The room was cold, the air dense with the stench of death and decay. In the middle of the room stood an ancient trunk, inscribed with enigmatic symbols. A force beyond my control drew me towards it. Each step closer unraveled the dark forces that lay dormant for centuries. The whispers grew louder, echoing the sinister symphony of death and betrayal. I could feel the icy fingers of the damned souls crawling up my spine, their breath cold against my skin. With trembling hands, I opened the trunk. A violent gust of wind unleashed the unspeakable horrors trapped within. Shadows danced around the room, whispering the sinister tales of their demise. The room seemed to breathe, each breath echoing the anguish and torment of the souls betrayed by one of their own. It was then that I realized the horrifying truth. Captain Alistair, the celebrated sea captain, was a tyrant who had betrayed his own crew. Driven by greed, he had led them to their grim demise, their souls trapped in the forbidden room for eternity. The horrifying echoes of their torment were a testament to the unspeakable horrors that lay beneath the glorified tales of bravery and triumph. As the truth unraveled, I found myself trapped amidst the echoing screams of the damned souls. Each scream piercing through the silence of the night, a chilling symphony of death and betrayal. I tried to escape, but the shadows held me captive, their icy grip a cruel reminder of the untold horrors of the past. I spent the night amidst the haunting echoes of the betrayed souls. As the first rays of the sun pierced through the darkness, the shadows retreated to the depths of their eternal prison. The forbidden room sealed the horrifying secrets within its ancient walls, a chilling testament to the grim history of Salem. I left the house at the break of dawn, the haunting echoes of the night still lingering in my soul. The sinister smile of Captain Alistair, a grim reminder of the unspeakable horrors that lay hidden beneath the glorious tales of the past. Every night, as the clock strikes midnight, I find myself drawn towards the ancient Victorian house. The whispering shadows, a chilling symphony of the untold horrors of a time long forgotten. A haunting reminder of the grim reality that lay beneath the celebrated history of Salem. A reality too horrifying to be told, too sinister to be remembered. From that night on, every echo in the silence, every shadow in the dark, every whisper in the wind carries the horrifying echoes of that true, creepy, and spooky night. A night when the forbidden room unveiled the untold horrors of the past, a chilling reminder of the grim reality that echoes in the haunting silence of Salem's nights.